minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute.
How about that?
Well, hi there. You know, they say in life there are no guarantees, but there is one here. We're going to have so darn much fun over the next couple of hours here on the RP Show. It's a very special day because it's Wednesday, and that means you, the viewer and the listener, are the co-host. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's me solo in hour one. Trust me, I got so much stuff that I want to say. We'll be fine, but I'd like to hear from you on a variety of topics. I feel like we're going to have rotating official and unofficial poll questions here today. Yeah, we're on the Game Plus Television Network, brought to you in part by Ultimate Fan Zone. Hour two will be going to air across Nevada on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network, but of course, YouTube podcast, 1700 WQVZ Radio, which reminds me, our WQVZ radio brethren, Brian Snow, the Snowman, will be with us in hour two. Snowman in the morning. The wonderful listeners of that radio station were able to listen to me on Snowman Show, and we're going to return the favor here this afternoon and be joined by the Snowman as we talk NFL, and that's where we're going to start. Trust me, it's the usual CFL, NFL, NHL, not all in that order, a little NBA, sprinkling a lot of fun in here for you, but this opening segment of the warm-up goes fast, so I'm going to open it with this, all NFL, and this is where I'm dying to get you're taking a lot of things. Just as we got off the air yesterday, I get a text message from Rob in Las Vegas. He says, Tomlin's stepping down. I'm like, great. We just spent 2 hours on his future. And then Tomlin pulls the pin in Pittsburgh yesterday. The longest tenured head coach in major American pro sports stepped down from his job, leaving the Steelers after yet another quick playoff exit. The announcement came a day after his 19th season in Pittsburgh ended with a 30-6 blowout wildcard loss to visiting Houston. Now, that's not even the thing I'm about dying to talk about the most. I'm going to get to that shortly. But as I was listening to my guys, here's the problem when I go solo like this. I tend to feel the need to over-prepare. So I've been listening to the pundits on the radio all morning, nationally, locally. I've been watching all the shows, and they're all talking about the same thing, and I'm getting all these takes. But one of them came from Mike Florio, my favorite analyst on NBC Sports Radio, and he says, do you think, well, he says that Tomlin knew, because this announcement came so quickly after the Steelers lost Monday night, like 12 hours later, he's pulling the pin. He says that clearly Tomlin knew that he was going to resign should the Steelers lose. And I don't agree with that. And I wonder if you, the viewer and the listener, agrees with that, because I follow very closely what Mike Tomlin says and does. 19 seasons as head coach of the Steelers, and it's like he manifests things. Sort of like, where would you be without Aaron Rodgers? Well, it doesn't matter because we have him. Or where would you be if the Ravens kicker had made that kick and knocked you out of the playoffs? Well, it doesn't matter because he missed the kick. You know what I'm saying? I don't think Tomlin's the kind of the guy that goes, well, if we lose, this is what I'm going to do. I don't think he thinks that way. I do think very clearly that once that game was over, he looked at his roster and said, we're old. Our quarterback's even older than old. I'm out. And what we hear is we're starting to we're going to hear that he's going to be on television next year, Mike Tomlin. But I don't think he will be there for long. And I got to come back on that. There's a lot of things I want to get to. Tony checks in from Cochrane. Hey, Tony. He says, good morning. Wow, the AFC North is nuts. I never expected Tomlin to step down. Right? That's the whole – it caught us all off guard, I think, after the show yesterday when it came down. Carlos in Indiana says, so will Tomlin coach elsewhere or will he enter the media field? Okay, well, because you led me down that road, and as I said, I'm not going to spend all of this on Mike Tomlin, but he'll probably do the media for a year. He'll be like Belichick and the guys that do that, but immediately go back the second something comes up. Here's the thing with secondary careers. Have any of you had them? My secondary career is, as you know, a mental health and addiction recovery coach. I don't really like it. It's like Tomlin doing media. Why did you start doing it, Rod, if you don't like it? Because people were coming to me for help. And I'm like, I'm not qualified to help you. But they didn't stop. So then I went and got the training. And yes, it feels good. But that was never something I grew up wanting to do. And I've had a lot of success at it simply because I've been down that road. So it's like, stop walking down that road and you'll be fine. Some do, some don't. But what I'm saying is, Mike Tomlin didn't grow up wanting to be a TV analyst, nor did Bill Belichick or any of these guys. And Nick Saban's only doing it. And Saban is also one of those guys that would be good at whatever he decides to do. But Saban was done coaching. It was very clear. Belichick wasn't. Tomlin wasn't. So I guess that's all what I'm thinking. Do you think that he knew during the game that was going to be his last as head coach of the Steelers? No, not for 1 second, the more that I think about that. Now, meanwhile, this is the more interesting to me, and this is probably going to have to carry over into the first break. It's NFL related. Point 1B, the next coach of the Baltimore Ravens will have a couple of tough acts to follow, given how quickly the previous two won Super Bowls. The Ravens owner, Steve Bisciotti, held a news conference Tuesday afternoon and said, quote, it took Brian Billick 2 years to win a Super Bowl, John Harbaugh 5. Maybe I'll give this next guy 6 years. He doesn't know who the coach will be, but the owner held a rare news conference Tuesday, speaking for about an hour. Bisciotti discussed a variety of topics, but the lively session was largely centered on his decision to fire John Harbaugh last week after 18 seasons. And listen, this is going to have to go over into the next segment because I got a lot of thoughts on this. How long did you say, producer Corey? Sorry. How long did you? Oh, okay. So of all that, did you watch that overshadowed the Tomlin thing? And he basically said that he would be willing to entertain the idea of hiring Mike Tomlin. I don't think Tomlin's going to coach in 2026, but Here is everything that I've had to say about the owners was encapsulated in that news conference from Steve Bisciotti, the Ravens owner. He's getting criticized for firing John Harbaugh over the phone. Folks, how many times do I need to tell you? It's not 1985. I'm with Bisciotti on this one. He said to the media, what am I going to do? Call him and say, meet me in the office in an hour? You know you're going to be fired. He knew that he was going to be fired. I'd just fire him over the phone. The last time I was fired, I wished I was fired over the phone. It frankly would have saved all the pomp and circumstance of getting your stuff in a cardboard box and being walked out of the building. I wish I'd have been fired over the phone. And then, furthermore, he fired back Steve Bisciotti at Tony Dungy. The quote, when Tony Dungy said this is a bad decision and good luck finding someone better than John, I literally wanted to call Tony and say, do you remember John 18 years ago? How can you take our success and use it against me while we're out trying to find the next John Harbaugh? Typical owner speak in that. Why can't you just let it go, Steve? Why can't you just let it go that Dungy said that? You know he's going to say it. He's going to stick up for a coach, but he can't. He's got to fire back. But at least he's won a couple Super Bowls. He's got some cred. Okay, so you see how I haven't even got to hockey yet, nor CFL. So give me your thoughts on all these things. We'll be right back here on the Game Plus Television Network, YouTube, and WQVZ.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help.
Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Famoso, Italian pizzeria and bar. Taste, savor, share. Famoso, the spirit of Italian. Come in, enjoy.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center.
I'm 1,000 miles from nowhere. Time don't matter to me.
Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the RP Show. Let's just take care of a little business before we go any further. The poll question, which is coming up shortly, is brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Inspire and grow with EMJ Marketing's comprehensive speaker and business marketing services. Find out more at emjmarketing.com. Again, I'll tell you what the poll question is in a second. And we're also brought to you by Outlaw Communications, where creativity isn't a hobby, it's a way of life. From strategic communications to leadership training and conversational content, we help your message connect and inspire. And so I appreciate when the ballers chime in. I appreciate when everybody chimes in, but particularly the ballers, like with regards to Steve Bisciotti, the owner of the Ravens, saying, of course I fired John Harbaugh over the phone. What was I supposed to do? Tell him, call him and say, yeah, meet me in the office in an hour. Matt DeBuck is watching in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He writes in, he says, you never want the note during training camp that says, you need to see the GM. I'll never forget that day. Thank Brendan Taman. When you were cutting Winnipeg. We're so jaded, aren't we, Coach? And it's funny, I talk about me being fired. I was just saying this the other day. And I walked into a room full of ballers like yourself. I said, I just got fired. And they all said, welcome to the club. Have a seat. We've been waiting for you. I mean, it just tell me on the phone. We know it's coming. Don't need to do it in person. Rob in Las Vegas writes in, he says, I don't see Mike Tomlin taking a coaching position in the near future or sitting in a broadcast booth. I think he takes some time off and reflects on what's next for him. Well, they've been sniffing around on this for a while, and the report that's out there this morning is that not only is he going to television, but that he's going to Fox, and we'll see. We'll see. Remember this day, because there's a lot of BS floating around. Now, before I switch over to hockey, there was one more thing. Again, I said I over-prepare when I have to host this show on my own with no co-host, which is also fun, but it's why I only do it one day out of the week. All the pundits on all the shows are pretty much talking about the exact same thing. Tomlin stepping down, Harbaugh being fired, ranking the top 5 coaching availabilities because there are 9 now. But one was, how involved should Lamar Jackson be in hiring Harbaugh's replacement? And I'm like, what? And it sounds odd that they would even ask that questions. But I mean, are we in an era now where the GMs and the owners will actually bring in the players, i.e. the employees, and ask their take on things? I mean, I'm getting to the CFL winter meetings, which are ongoing right now, and the coaches are still pissed off they weren't consulted about the rule changes. I mean, should it happen? Yes. Has it ever happened? No. Will it ever happen? No. Now, but having said that, that's what I'm saying, would be a good poll question. Should Lamar Jackson be consulted or have input on the next head coach of the Ravens? I'm sure the majority of you would say yes. Sure. Great idea. Not going to happen. So anyways, that's why I over-prepare. What do they say? Analysis leads to paralysis. And that fried my brain watching with too much of this content today. By the way, we're brought to you in part by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon. Among our many sponsors, they're one of the greatest. Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet, in a tremendous place to watch the National Football League. I know you're all horny about the football talk, but hang on for a second. Hockey is still number one for me. So of the highlights Tuesday night, after feeling a mile high Monday night by beating the NHL leading Colorado Avalanche in overtime, the Toronto Maple Leafs returned to earth Tuesday with a 6-1 loss to the host Utah Mammoth. Dylan Genther scored twice to become the first player in Mammoth history to hit the 50-goal mark, and the Mammoth bombed the Leafs 6-1. I'm not done with that game. I'm coming back in a second. Roman Yossi's second goal of the game, scored at 3:33 of overtime, lifted the Nashville Predators to a 4-3 victory over the visiting Edmonton Oilers. Connor McDavid extended his point streak to 20 on his birthday, 20 games. And what's the NHL record for point streak? Come on. 51, held by Wayner. And I can't see McDavid busting that. Adam Lowry and Kyle Connor each had a goal and an assist. And the Winnipeg Jets beat the visiting New York Islanders 5-4 last night. So I went 6 of 10 on picks. I did predict the Jets to beat the Islanders. You're welcome, Winnipeg. But the poll question today is, are the Jets going to make the playoffs? Because there's signs of life there. 3 in a row that they've won. I could break down the poll. Okay, 83% saying no, they're not going to make the playoffs. But of the 17%, all of them reside in the 204 area code. So, yeah, I want to see the Jets turn it around. I frankly think that it's too late. But the other thing, I care more about this, and I need to let it go, similar to all these other things I've been opining about on the program today. But I get the game notes every morning from the NHL. It's called NHL Morning Skate. And it says, Dylan Guenther, first player in Mammoth history to record 50 career goals in a Utah uniform. And I still get tripped up in my own head. I'm like, Dale Howardchuk didn't score 50 goals? Wait, Keith Tkachuk didn't score? Jeremy Roenick didn't score? Oh, wait. Somehow or another, they were able to just wave a wand and extinguish their entire history in Arizona and Winnipeg before going to Utah. And I know, listen, we've been over this. I know this is a Rod problem, not an everybody else problem. But it's like, why would you want to get rid of that history of the Jets and the Coyotes? So that franchise is sitting there dormant. You know, we talked with Tim Hunter yesterday on this program about, Shane Doan is part of a group trying to bring the NHL back to Arizona, but it just sticks in my craw when they say that Dylan Guenther is the first in franchise history to score 50 goals. No. Maybe I just talked myself out of it. It's not that big a deal, Rod. Okay, that doesn't count. Navy Dawn writes in from Ottawa. A naval officer, good friend of mine, he says, I'm in the 613, and I believe the Jets will get in. You're originally from the 204. That doesn't count. Nice try. Kevin the Medium chiming in. Kevin the Medium. I'm expecting to see you in this spot Thursday and Friday. Well, not here, Kev, but co-hosting with me. He says, good morning, RP peeps, from the new home of Kevin the Medium, beautiful Maple Creek, Saskatchewan. Bill, originally from Toronto, now hanging his hat in the Queen City, writes in. He says, good morning, crew. That was a strange game. The Leafs plane just sucked. Looked tired for the first face-off. Hey, next time I have a hockey guy on, I'll ask him that, or maybe I will kick this around with the hockey people, because the fatigue factor, while I think it's a thing, it's not as much as a thing as it used to be. I just had a sense, like Kevin the Medium has these senses, that the Leafs went into Colorado and snapped the Avalanche home winning streak at 17 games. They were on too much of a high. I don't think it was a fatigue thing. They just came crashing back to earth. That's what happened in Utah. But maybe they were tired. Maybe you're right. What do I know? 902-518-3033 is the text line. Bob writes in. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Good morning, Rod. It's Bob from Medicine Hat. Back watching your show. I missed you for a few days. I really enjoy your show. Have a great day, Rod. Do you know what a minuscule percentage of population actually writes in with nice things or says nice things over? The fact that Bob does that so regularly tells me he's a great guy. Thank you, Bob. And the fact that we weren't on Game Plus TV earlier in the week, out of my control. Been working a lot on that. I will get to the top 5, bottom 5 in the NHL a little later on in the program. Not here, because there's a couple things I want to mention. And there was a lot of hockey talk right there. We're going to swing it back to football right now. Point 3 would have been the top 5, bottom 5. We're going to do that later. Point 4, CFL Commissioner Stuart Johnston will meet the media. Will meet the media today at 2:30 Eastern, and I will be part of it. 30 minutes after we get off the air today. So he's going to address what's been going on at the winter meetings in Calgary. And frankly, John at Edmonton wrote in earlier and said, what are your thoughts on the CFL winter meetings? I'm following it with interest. I kind of wish I was there, but it would take a crane and a team of Clydesdale horses to get me out of South Florida in January. So I'm just enjoying sitting back, reading the coverage at 3 Down, what the league is sending me. And so, hey, Coach DeBuck, since you're watching right now and you're a baller and a CFL alum, what I've read is the general managers and coaches, number one, they want to eliminate ties, which frankly I'm shocked it has not happened till now. I'm pretty sure that'll be rubber stamped by the governors. There's been only 4 ties in CFL games since 2016. 2 of them happened during the 2024 season, but they're a real pain in the ass. They really cause a clerical accounting pain. So what the coaches want to keep doing, which I think, again, I go along with this, because right now it's we all know what it is, too many games on the 35-yard line. If it's still tied, game over. They just want to keep playing until it's over. I like that. Okay, done. And then the other one is, and listen, I've never had a coach's headset on, so they want to preserve the 20-second play clock for the final 3 minutes of halves. It sounds a little intricate and tricky to me. Coach DeBuck is an offensive guy. He's watching right now from Fort Lauderdale. I think we found out that all the Argos coaches watch this show every day. We already have been told by the BC Lions staff that their coaches all watch it every day. So why don't you guys tell me? They want it, so clearly they don't think it's that big of a problem. Mike Miller was on this show on Friday, the new head coach of the Argos, and I said, how is this 35-second play clock going to go over? He goes, we'll see. What a wonderful way. It's like he's talking to your kids. Hey, Dad, can we go to McDonald's? We'll see. That's what I got. Which is fine. But I'm still getting a kick out of this. Goes back to the Lamar Jackson wanting a hand in hiring the head coach. Of course he does. This goes back to the coaches and the GMs being upset they weren't consulted by the CFL owners on the rule changes. Should they have been? Yes. Were they ever going to be? No. It's like the people that were upset, who aren't even part of my life anymore, but the people that were upset when I wanted to move to Florida and did. You didn't consult with me. I don't answer to you. Oh. I didn't consult with you because I knew you'd say no. The owners didn't consult with the coaches because they knew they'd say no. Come on. I'm going to kind of save the college football national championship talk until hour 2 when we go across Nevada. It's more of a U.S. audience then, but I will say this. A couple things. I was reading the daily newsletter that I get from Yahoo. I mean, I like it, but it's like anything. You watch this show, you don't like it, you don't agree with everything that I say. Columnist in there from Yahoo Sports is bitching that there's too much time before the national championship in college football. Maybe for you, it says it's losing steam. Not here, not in South Florida where the game's going to be played. There's an unbelievable amount of hype for the game, and which is going to have to carry over until after the break. Here's the bitching. I'm seeing 40-year Miami Hurricane season ticket holders unable to go to the game for a variety of reasons. Biggest one, they can't afford to go. Would you pay $7,000 for a pair of tickets? I wouldn't. And 2, the stadium sold out with people that would pay an outrageous amount of money. So basically, it's priced their own fans out of existence. That's happening in a lot of places. And I'm sorry to say, the leagues and the teams don't care. I'm just saying there's a lot of broken hearts and hurt feelings around here because they can't go to watch the team in the Natty that they've been cheering for in stadium for 40 years. We'll be back. Lots to get to here on Game Plus Television.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
I told you that we were going to have fun today over these 2 hours, and I didn't lie. You may not like what I have to say, but you never call me a liar. 902-518-3033 is the text line, just picking back up with what we've been talking about and dipping into the audience questions. Matthew in Winnipeg says, I love that poll. Thanks, LOL. The poll is, will the Winnipeg Jets make the playoffs? Poll update, 2 of 10 polls reporting. 72% of respondents saying, no, the Winnipeg Jets aren't making the playoffs. Wilf writes in from Steinbach, Manitoba, and listen closely because Steinbach's going to come up again here. He says, hi, Rod, I think the Jets' playoff hope is at 10%, as Dumb and Dumber say, so there is a chance. That's the whole thing. If you're in the 204 area code, you have to believe that they're going to make the play. You have to. And then the rest of us kind of look at it with realism, which I don't have the time or interest to get into here, other than it's not just about them catching fire, but they dug such a hole. I know they're, X amount of points out of a playoff spot. It's like, but are you going to get past? Whose bottom is going to fall out? That's the question. NHL top 5, bottom 5 coming up. Text line 902-518-3033. Kenny in Vancouver is watching on the Game Plus TV network. He says, good morning, Rod. I watch the RP show every day. And as a human being, I care about others. Is Darren Moose DuPont okay? I know he is married now, but I don't hear you mention him anymore. I love all of your guests. Have a great day, Rod. Here's what I have to say about that. Holy shit. Every day people are asking about Moose. I talk to him almost every. What do I need? Do we need to run a ticker across the bottom? Moose has a new job. Oh, my God. He was just in Steinbach, Manitoba on the weekend for the Grand Slam of curling. So Sunday night, I talked to him on the phone. I said, how about all this NFL stuff that's gone down today? He's like, I didn't watch any of it because my phone is off. Because he's producing, executive producing, streaming. It's on the FanDuel network here in Florida, the curling. And then he's off to produce flag football in Scottsdale, Arizona, or the NCAA track and field championships in Vegas or whatever. He's not here anymore. What do you need to know? He doesn't work here anymore. We're still friends. He doesn't have time, and he's not following up with sports either. He's in the period of his life where he's grinding his balls off. He started this show, made it an immense success, got us on Game Plus television. Big part of us getting to 1,655 episodes, but then he's on to his next thing because that's what Moose does. He's an entrepreneur. He's a startup guy, and he's capable of bigger things than sitting here being my Ed McMahon every day. You might not be old enough to understand that, but again, Moose isn't here. How many times do I need to say it? Thank you. 902-518-3033, Western Dodge text line. Thank you, Laverne. He said, well, and Kenny, you're right. You're a nice guy, but there's your explanation. Moose is busy. He's not with us anymore, but we're still friends. Is that so? Twice yesterday, I facetiously made comments about judging others. I said, I'm narrow-minded, so I'm judging. Laverne wrote in from the Frontier City, and he says, don't be hard on yourself, Rod. You have an open mind, not a narrow mind. Great show. And I'm like, I wrote him back. I said, thanks, Laverne. I was being sarcastic. Maybe it didn't come across. But that's exactly it. And it's funny, by the way, I did read a comment from Danny Machocha, the general manager of the Montreal Alouettes. It was something along the lines of, from this week, from the winter meetings, he said, only a fool doesn't change his mind. Now, I understand that because I'm clued into this way of thinking. That's why Danny Machocha's had such success in football at the university level with 2 different CFL teams. He's won Grey Cups. The open-minded person looks back and goes, oh, wait. Maybe they have a point. Maybe I was wrong. That's the open-minded part of it. It's rare, I know. Anyways, Laverne goes on to say, where's John Ohm, by the way? Laverne writes in on this NFL head-spinning off season. He goes, so here's a quick list of firings in the NFL. 3 general managers, 9 head coaches, 5 offensive coaches, 4 defensive coaches, and 2 special teams coaches. Now, I ain't good at math, but that's 12, 17, 21, 23 people fired that we know of. There's a lot of people being fired behind the scenes that we don't even know their names. And, it kind of goes back to what I was saying about, the college football ticket prices, which for anybody that might know that's smarter than me, and there are many, including you, Coach DeBuck, if it's $3,700 for the cheapest ticket to get into the Miami, Indiana National Championship college game, and $20,000 for the most expensive, which is what they're going for, this one game is going to generate millions of dollars. And everybody is mad here, or a lot of people that can't get tickets, and they've been hurricane season ticket holders for decades. Where's the money going? It's like they're mad at the Hurricanes. I don't think it's the Hurricanes. How crappy is it to get blamed for something you didn't do? I'm sure all that money's going to the NCAA. So if you want to know how the coaches are making $13 million a year and all the rest that goes on in college sports, particularly college football, there you go. Be mad at the NCAA. Don't be mad at the Miami Hurricanes or sports in general. Kevin the Medium says, oh my God, I'm RP's Ed McMahon. Hashtag life is good. Well, again, Kev, where were you at the age of what Moose's age is. Grinding your balls off. Fortunately, we're not in that stage anymore where we can kind of take the foot off the gas and enjoy life a little bit. And that's where you seamlessly fit into this role. He will be Ed McMahon to my Johnny Carson Thursday, Friday here on the RP Show. Thank you, Cap. Rob in Las Vegas writes in, he says, I would like to see Robert Saleh land another head coaching position. Great leader and well-respected defensive mind. Well, funny you bring that up, because next hour, Brian Snow will be with us, Snowman in the Morning from WQVZ, and we're going to talk about his 49ers, and it's something I brought up on his show yesterday. Because I'm not just extolling my wisdom here every day. I go on other shows as a guest. And I said, look at that 49ers defense under Robert Saleh. There's not one Pro Bowl on the roster or active roster. There are a couple that are hurt, but they're still winning. It's Robert Saleh. That's coaching. Has anybody stopped to notice that? But anyways, we'll be talking about that with Snowman and more things next hour in segment 2. Snowman in the Morning. I just love saying it. And to be honest, when I was on the air with Snowman yesterday, I'm like, dagnammit, that guy's got a voice. Snowman has a voice. Yeah, there was a time, kids, in broadcasting where it was important to have a nice voice. Snowman and I are bringing it back. David number 1 writes in from Winnipeg. He says, morning, Rod Squad. Hope you're all having a wonderful hump day. Oh, we are. Did you take the time, David number 1 in Winnipeg, to vote on our poll? It is, will the Winnipeg Jets make the playoffs? 78% saying no, they won't. I might as well get to the 5th point of the Quick Six show topics here. Miraculously, we are on point. The Toronto Raptors are in Indiana to take on the Pacers tonight. Toronto's lost 2 of its last 3, but sits 4th in the East with 24 wins. Raps will be without R.J. Barrett, who was injured in a loss to Boston on Friday. Canada's Jamal Murray, meanwhile, and the Denver Nuggets will look to make it 3 straight wins when they visit the Dallas Mavericks tonight in the NBA. Nuggets have gone 5-3 since 3-time MVP Nikola Jokic went down with an injury. Jamal Murray has played in 5 of those games, averaging 27.8 points. There's your NBA update. Well, the good news for you is that we will be viewer takeover the rest of the way coming back out of the next break, including a sports update, by the way. But Wednesdays are the day where the viewer and the listener is the co-host. So make those comments good. As Jim Rome popularized decades ago, have a take and don't suck, and you might just get mentioned here on the RP Show. But to recap, all those NFL thoughts, I just scratched the lid on that. Mike Tomlin stepping down Tuesday. Did he know Monday night would be his last game as coach of the Steelers? I don't think so. Steve Bisciotti in all the ways, not the Starbucks pastry. The owner of the Ravens, was he vindicated in the way he fired John Harbaugh and taking a shot at Tony Dungy? Just typical owner there. CFL winter meetings, college football national championship tickets. We got a lot on the table today. We'll be right back. You are watching across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with The Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away. ultimatefanzone.ca or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. I'm not sure that you know just how lucky you are today, and I'm going to explain why in a second. But first, a couple of business items. Number one, dress like the host. Get RP Show gear and merchandise right from our official website at rodpeterson.com. Click on store. And also, while you're there, sign up for the free newsletter, the Rod Squad newsletter. It drops on Sunday afternoons, brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. I will get to your viewer comments in a second, but I'll just go back on this for a second. We talked about Tomlin and, did he know that he was coaching his last game with the Steelers on Monday night? I don't personally think that he knew. He didn't think that. Winners don't think that way. They just don't. If you, what do they say? If you have a plan B, then you're giving yourself a plan to fail. Whatever the hell it is. That's not how Mike Tomlin rolls. And then with Steve Bisciotti, and by the way, I wish I thought more like these guys, a billionaire like Steve Bisciotti. I really do. I just don't think like them. So the owner of the Ravens, and I think we can all agree, very successful guy. I don't know where he made his billions, but I know he's won 2 Super Bowls as the owner of the Ravens. And I've seen at games here in Miami, we're not going to have the chance now because he fired John Harbaugh, but if you watch Ravens games, I guess when you're watching on television, you don't have a chance to see it. But if you're there live, Bisciotti's always on the field before the game, and he's always talking with Harbaugh at midfield. I see it here in Miami every time the Ravens come through. It's sort of their thing. And in his news conference yesterday, Bisciotti, which is very rare that an owner would hold a news conference. I think that's why it's getting so much pub. I'm hoping you saw it in Canada. You must have seen the clips because they were fantastic. But he says, I'll give this new coach 6 years to win a Super Bowl. It took Billick 2 years and Harbaugh 5. He took a shot at Tony Dungy because Dungy came out on Twitter and said, what are you firing John Harbaugh for? Good luck finding a better coach than him. The quote from Bisciotti was, when Tony Dungy said this is a bad decision and good luck finding someone better than John, I literally wanted to call Tony and say, do you remember John 18 years ago? How can you take our success and use it against me while we're out trying to find the next John Harbaugh? Here's the thing. I like to shoot back at people too. It didn't work real well for me. So then in the back of my mind, I'm like, how come he gets to say it and I can't? Because he owns the team, Rod. And owns. They can do whatever they want. They call that FU money, I think. And just last night, some guy was in my face about something that wasn't my fault, and I just bit my lip. I've been working very hard with my coach on tone. But that's why, again, he's won his 2 Super Bowls, and he can call a news conference if he wants. He can do whatever the hell he wants because he's the owner. And I get that. I've got very, very, very wealthy friends that we just have to agree to disagree on a few things because we get in arguments all the time about Jerry Jones and how he can be such a boob running my favorite team, the Dallas Cowboys. Well, he leveraged everything he had to buy those oil wells, and he bought the team so he can do whatever he wants. I'm like, so that gives him a license to be an idiot? Let's just agree to disagree. But again, I think Bisciotti seems pretty cool. The one thing that I've never quite figured out, because I've spent so much time around the owners, is on one hand, they have zero feelings and they fire somebody at the drop of a hat. They don't care. I don't think they have feelings. Yet you say anything untoward like Tony Dungy did and their feelings are hurt. So what is it? They're the most thin-skinned, non-thin-skinned people in the world. I don't get them. You're seeing live therapy on television for free. You're welcome. 902-518-3030. I'm just coaching myself here. Rob in the Queen City writes in. He says, let it rip, Rod. Love the Moose rant. Great show right from episode 1. I tune in as much as I can. Thank you, Rob in the Queen City. It is episode number 1655. Interestingly, 155 of those have been done with Skycron, our production team. I get it. That's why I would never be a good teacher, standing at the front of the room every year repeating the same stuff. I just can't. Yet I do it with the people that I coach, so I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. David in Winnipeg, thank you, David. He writes in and he says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. For sure, but that popped into my head, but that's the opposite of what I was getting at. I mean, maybe Mike Tomlin's the kind of guy that would say, if we lose, this is what I'm going to do. It's different. That's the burn the boats mentality, right? We're going to the island, and when we get there, we're burning the boats. So we're either taking over the island or we get killed over there, but we're not coming back. That's the Tomlin mentality. That's the winner mentality. But also, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I get that too. I just don't think that applies here. But thanks. Thank you, Brent in the Bridge City writes in. He says, don't forget to subscribe and like the RP show for those that are watching on streaming. Thank you. Mark's watching in Melfort, the beekeeper. He says, Rod, count to 10 and say, oh, trust me, I get it. I'm just, for the longest time, I often wondered, hey, I get it. I was coached. Now I'm helping people with this. How come I can't, but he can? We're not talking about him. We're talking about you. Steve Bisciotti can do whatever the hell he wants. Plus, he's won 2 Super Bowls. That should account for something. So, I like the realness of the dude, that he would call a news conference and say, yeah, I fired John Harbaugh over the phone. What was I supposed to do? Say, meet me in the office in an hour. We all know what's coming. Again, it's not 1985 anymore. It reminds me of when Gerard Mayo was fired as coach of the Patriots last year. 12 hours, like before sun went down the night of the game, and it got out, their last game. And it got out, and the players were mad that they weren't told ahead of time. Guys, it's not 1985. They're trying to get me in the comments, and you're not going to get me. Laverne in the Frontier City says, I think head coach Scott Arniel has a higher percentage of getting fired in Winnipeg than the Jets making the playoffs. I hope I'm wrong. Well, now would be a good time to talk about that, because I'm not going to bring that with a Snowman next hour. Snowman in the morning. Kevin Cheveldayoff ain't going to fire Scott Arniel. I don't think Kevin Cheveldayoff's firing anybody. They're not. I don't know. Who knows, man? That's the other thing. All these zany things that are happening in sports right now, why do we act like we're surprised? We get continually surprised in the playoffs when defense wins, when we've known for 100 years that defense wins. Why are we surprised? When zany things keep happening in sports, why are we surprised? Wayne writes in from Victoria, BC. He says, hearing the CFL news for the first time now. Back it up, everybody. If you just tuned, I talked about this 30 minutes ago. He says, I agree with keeping the 20-second clock in the last 3 minutes of each half. It makes the end of the games very exciting for most games. I'm limited in my knowledge of this topic because I've never quarterbacked. I've never coached a football game. But I do know enough to know, having worked in a variety of leagues for a very long time in football, I don't think the viewer will even notice a difference, the 35-second clock versus the 20-second clock. That's something that we're going to need to dig into. Oh, my God. Vancouver Eric writes in. He says, McKenna to the Jets. I had to do a quick mental scan. What do you mean? The New York Jets? What McKenna? Because nobody's linked Gavin McKenna to the Winnipeg Jets. It's no. Nobody's talking about the Winnipeg Jets tanking it for Gavin McKenna, which, you might be enjoying the top 5, bottom 5 when I get to it next hour. That's just a hook to keep you all interested. But I will say this about the Vancouver Canucks. They have been relegated to laughingstock status. And it's not that you don't know that out there in Vancouver. You know that. But this morning they were talking on NHL radio about what teams have been written off, done, and what teams actually have a chance. And it's just 2 days ago, Gord Stellick saying he's written off the Jets. They're done. And now he's saying, I didn't say that, because they've won 3 in a row. Oh, my God. To the viewer whining about Moose and you miss the good old days of a co-host, I do it 1 hour a week. 1 hour a week that I sit here by myself. If you don't like it, there's the door. Piss off. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Coming up next hour, Snowman in the morning. Darcy in Grand Prairie writes, and he says, Kyle Tucker sweepstakes are heating up. Go get him, Ross Atkins. Latest is that the Mets are offering 4-year, $200 million. God bless you, Darcy, for having the cranium space to follow baseball free agency. I'm watching one thing, the whereabouts of Bo Bichette. Because everybody was saying he was going to Boston. Now in Philly, they're saying the smart money is on that he's going to be a Philadelphia Philly. I can't. No, can't. Staying up to date on the NHL, CFL winter meetings, NFL coaching. I can't. No, can't. Call me a failure if you will. You won't be the first. Hour 2 coming up. It's going to be big fun. NHL top 5, bottom 5, Snowman in the morning, and a whole lot more. We'll be right back here. You're watching the RP Show across Canada on the Game Plus television network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
It's a Wednesday. It's the RP Show. Make yourself at home, everybody. We welcome the viewers tuning in on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada, and say thank you to the Game Plus TV viewers that have stuck with us from hour one into hour two. We've had a lively discussion today. And for those watching or listening in other platforms, thanks to you as well. YouTube Live, we're streaming podcast form and 1700 WQVZ radio. My WQVZ brethren, Brian Snow, will be with us coming up in the next segment, Snowman in the Morning. And we'll be talking a lot of NFL with him, with a little CFL sprinkled in, maybe some Major League Baseball. And when I was on his show yesterday, the old cross promotion thing, we talked about some college football national championships. So there is a hell of a lot going on. We like the cross promotion. It's worked very well. And it's kind of mind-blowing to the viewers. For those of the certain vintage of myself, I've said it for years. Remember Facts of Life and Different Strokes back in the day? When Tootie Ramsey from Facts of Life showed up on Different Strokes. Boom, it just blew our little minds. And I would suggest that's the same for WQVZ listeners today when the Snowman joins us. I'm trying to change it up a little bit here. The quick six show topics today. We'll stay with the NFL. But before we get to the coaching carousel and owner comments, there is news that has come up from the NFL today. Chicago's come-from-behind victory over Green Bay in Saturday's wild card round became the first NFL game to have over 30 million viewers on a streaming service. The Bears' 31-27 victory averaged 31.61 million on Amazon Prime Video, according to Nielsen ratings. and broke the previous standard by 4 million. That record was set on Christmas Day when the Vikings win over Detroit averaged 27.52 million on Netflix. There's a lot to unpack here, and I'm not interested in unpacking much other than to say, yes, streaming is not the way of the future. It's here. But I mean, 27 million tuned in to watch two teams that didn't even make the playoffs? Wow. And then, with the Bears, Tony's watching, and Cochran, he wrote in and says, speaking of 1985, which I'll get to in a second why we were bringing that up, but he says, can the Bears make it to the Super Bowl and defeat the Patriots like they did back then? Well, the question is, can they? Yes, they're both in the playoffs, so there's very distinct chance of that. But why we're talking about 1985? I mean, this weekend's, we're going to get into that in the next segment with Snowman in the morning. But a couple of things on the 1985 comment. Let me go in order. The Mike Tomlin era in Pittsburgh is over. The longest tenured head coach in North American major pro sports stepped down Tuesday after his Steelers were bounced Monday night by the visiting Houston Texans 30-6. What I casually threw out to the viewers, for what they didn't jump on that, they jumped on other things. They didn't jump on this, and I'm dying to know what you think. It was Mike Florio's supposition when I was listening to him this morning that Tomlin knew that he was going to pull the pin if the Steelers lost. And I don't believe that. I don't go along with that. I don't think Tomlin thinks that way. And the only reason he said that was because the announcement came so fast after the loss, like 12 hours after the loss. I don't think he goes into a game saying, if we lose, this is what we do. There are team staff to do that. General managers think that way. I don't think the coaches do. And I don't think the players do either. Not the winners anyways. I'm getting to the 1985 comment, but the Baltimore Ravens owner, Steve Bisciotti, held a news conference yesterday. And yes, it's rare for owners to hold news conferences unless you're in Dallas, because Jerry Jones does it every week. But he says he joked, Bisciotti said he's going to give his next head coach 6 years to win a Super Bowl. It only took Brian Billick 2 years, took John Harbaugh 5. He said that he would consider hiring Mike Tomlin. Wouldn't that be a trick, as my mom would say, if Tomlin jumped AFC North rival teams? There was a ranking by Stephen A. on ESPN this morning. What are the top 5 openings? But I wasn't interested to delve into that. I was more interested in what Bisciotti had to say, because it's so rare that an owner speaks. And he acknowledged firing John Harbaugh over the phone. I love the quote. He's like, I wasn't going to be a jerk and say, meet me in the office in an hour. Because Harbaugh would have known it was coming. It's not 1985. And I didn't finish that thought. New England Patriots players were upset, reportedly, last year, not this year, last year, when they found out through the media that Gerard Mayo, their head coach, had been fired. They would have liked to have had a team meeting assembled and be told then, wouldn't we all like to have it all go our way every day? Doesn't work that way. And again, it's not 1985. When are people going to announce this? Accept this? And then the other thing with Bisciotti, I was hanging on every word of what this guy had to say, because the fans don't understand that these are the people that wag the dog. I was going to say men, but it's not always men. It's a woman in Tennessee, owner. They're making all the decisions. And then he fired back at Tony Dungy. I've quoted him twice, so I'm not going to read it for a third time. But he fired back at Tony Dungy because Tony Dungy said, what are you doing firing John Harbaugh? Good luck finding a better coach than him. And Bisciotti got mad. And that's what I don't understand about these owners. On one hand, they're heartless. I believe they are. But then they're so thin-skinned when they're criticized for anything. I don't really understand what goes on between their brains, between their ears. But you know what? I don't need to know. And what would have been a really good poll question, maybe we'll do it tomorrow, is should Lamar Jackson have input in the next head coach? It's laughable to me that that's even a question, because it's so rare that it would happen. No, I don't really know. I've known teams that have brought in their players and consulted them on hirings like this. I've known teams that don't. I think we would all not be surprised if the Ravens hired their next head coach and didn't consult the quarterback, is what I'm getting at. The actual poll question is, will the Winnipeg Jets make the playoffs? Spoiler alert, before I jump into what happened in the NHL on Tuesday night, spoiler alert, will the Winnipeg Jets make the playoffs? Why are we asking that? Because Adam Lowry and Kyle Connor each had a goal and an assist, and the Winnipeg Jets beat the visiting New York Islanders 5-4 on Tuesday night. One of the 6 correct picks I made out of the 10 games that were played. I feel like if you're anything over 50% in picking NHL games, that's good, isn't it? But now the Jets have won 3 in a row, and it's got everybody in the 204 area code excited, which it should, but not really anybody who's paying attention outside the 204 to math and what's going on in the NHL regular season. So the poll question is, and there's John Ohm showing up right on time. Hi, John. Were you golfing today? Indoors? Somebody correctly pointed out here, or not even correctly, I didn't know this. Matthew in Winnipeg's watching. He says the Jets need to go 750 the rest of the way to make the playoffs. And that's if somebody else tanks. The odds on that are very unlikely that they're going to do that. So while what did I say, 73% or 73% are saying no, they're not going to make the playoffs. 27% are delusional. But they're Jets fans, and you can't blame them for that, for being optimistic. And I felt bad saying, I was quoting somebody that said the window's closed for the Winnipeg Jets. I'm not sure whether I believe that or not. That seems to be the narrative. And trust me, I hate the narrative. I hate the idea of a narrative. The narrative is that the Winnipeg Jets window is closed. Again, as my counselor Rand says, I often say to him, I look at things differently than everybody else. He says, that's why you have a show. Oh, I can't stand the phrase perception is reality, because reality is reality. So often how it looks isn't what it is, but I'll just go along with it. I don't have the energy to fight all this. On the streaming, with regards to the 31 million or whatever the hell it was watching the Bears game the other night, Jeff the Stamps fan says streaming is the future. Better get on board, CFL. Chief Johnny Moe writes in. He says, let's unpack it, Rod. Bro, that was like 6 minutes ago. I forgot what I was even talking about that I said we were going to unpack it. Well, hey. They jumped on this Winnipeg Jets thing. I would like to point out the Oilers played last night as well, and they lost in overtime in Nashville, but Connor McDavid had a couple of points to extend his point streak to 20 games. How long does it go? You know that he's not going to catch Wayne. In the myriad of things that I was reading today to get ready for this show. Again, I say I get over-prepared. They said the Gretzky 51-point streak was one that'll likely never be broken. I'm like, I wouldn't go that far. I would not go that far. We didn't think his 894 goals would be broken, and it was. But I tell you what, if anybody breaks Glenn Hall's record of 502 consecutive games started as a goaltender, I will kiss Jeff the Stamps fan's ass at the corner of Bow Trail and Sarcee Road, or whatever the hell it is. Oh, so just back to the Jets for I think it was last hour. Somebody brought in Gavin McKenna, the Penn State star forward, who was the number one projected pick in this coming NHL draft this summer. People are saying the Jets should tank to get the number one pick. You can't. And not that we need a remedial explanation in this, but Tim Hunter, who was on with us yesterday, Stanley Cup winner with the Calgary Flames, went to the Stanley Cup with the Vancouver Canucks, said it's very difficult to tank. It's difficult to tank in the NFL where there's actually a prize waiting at the end of the rainbow. If you tank in the NFL, you'll be guaranteed, like the Raiders did it successfully. It's hard to do it in the NFL for a lot of reasons. The coaches don't want to lose. They don't, because it's on their record. The players don't want to lose. How are you going to tank? And that's just in the NFL, but guys do it. Again, I don't really want to unpack that other than the owner here was suspended for 6 weeks for trying to cook up a scheme to tank. And while he was found not guilty of any wrongdoing, he was still suspended. So, but in hockey, it's even harder because there's more games. The coaches still don't want to lose and have that go on their record. And even if you do tank and finish 32nd, you could lose the lottery. Look at the Islanders jumping up. How many spots? Joe Lazito, there's your daily mention. What are they're like the 7th worst team and jumped up to the number 1 overall pick and took Matthew Schaefer, the next Bobby Orr. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says he'll take. Sure, Jeff, you'll take that. It's not going to happen in our lifetimes. You don't need to worry. You don't need to worry. Okay, since we're sitting here and it's 1:11 Eastern, where's Carlos for our live viewers? 1:11. Visualize a positive outcome. I'm going to tell you, it actually works. If you're going to overthink, think the best. Wrote that on my arm today. Perfect timing. Here's the top 5, bottom 5 NHL teams. We do it every week. Brought to you by the Ultimate Fan Zone. The number 1 team in the National Hockey League is the Tampa Bay Lightning. Hashtag Go Bolts. They've won 11 in a row, including a victory just last week over the Colorado Avalanche in Thunder Alley. Number 1, Tampa Bay. Number 2, the aforementioned Colorado Avalanche. Number 3, the Dallas Stars. They are actually comfortably in number 2 overall. Standings-wise, I have them as the number 3 team in the NHL. Number 4, the Minnesota Wild. Here's a fun trick. Name 5 of them. Bet you can't. And the number 5 team in the National Hockey League, the Carolina Hurricanes. Still a bridesmaid, however. The bottom 5 in the National Hockey League. 28th team. I'm sorry. I got the Winnipeg Jets. Despite the fact they are showing signs of life. I've got them as the 28th team in the National Hockey League. Number 29, the Chicago Blackhawks. CWWB. Can't win without Bedard. Number 30, the Calgary Flames. Sorry. Number 31, the St. Louis Blues. In St. Louis, they're singing the blues. NHL worst goal differential, -44. And the 32nd team in the NHL, not a surprise to anybody, the Vancouver Canucks. Ho, ho, ho. They have entered laughingstock territory. And I don't say that lightly. But literally, their name came up this morning on NHL radio, and the host started laughing. That's got to hurt. Yeah, Tony and Cochran writes in regarding the NHL. I think the guys, I would like to think the viewers, if they're watching this show, they know that. He says the number 1 draft pick is a lottery, no guarantees. That's Tim Hunter saying in the NHL, it's hard to tank and win number 1. It's hard in any league to do that. The viewers are excited as I get, we talked about this a lot last hour. John Ohm, you're late. We talked about the CFL winter meetings and what the GMs and coaches are proposing to the owners. The commissioner is holding a news conference today, 30 minutes after we get off the air. Just so you know. I don't have time to get into the college football national championship only because I did my NHL top 5, bottom 5. So hockey fans, you're welcome. Actually, we can talk about the Natty next. It is a hell of a story. Somebody was bitching today in a column that I read that there's too much time before the start of the Natty. They should have moved it up a week. I don't agree. It's a race to see who can bitch the most in the media these days. That's all. Me and the Snowman aren't going to be bitching, though. Brian Snow joins us next from 1700 WQVZ. Snowman in the Morning. We'll be right back here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network and, of course, Game Plus TV.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for legendary ribs, delicious pizza, and late-night bites. It's the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. Order online, pick up, or dine in at themadgreekeatery.com in Moose Jaw. Okay, we got him, Snowman in the morning. But it's not the morning, and I was hoping that you would have your San Francisco Levi Stadium background up. Can you throw that up real quick, Snowman? No?
I don't think I can. I don't think I can from here. I tried for a few minutes. Not able to, but you know what? You saw the Levi Stadium picture that I have. My wife actually got that for me, and I use it on my show a lot.
Everybody, just imagine that the Snowman is joining us from Levi Stadium in San Francisco, and we're going to get to your 49ers. We're going to get to your 49ers in a second. Little cross promotion here on 1700 WQVZ. I said it was like when Tootie from Facts of Life showed up on Different Strokes. It just blew everybody's mind. And then Mrs. Garrett was on both. We're like, what the hell?
Yep.
Anyways.
That was the first time I ever learned of a cross promo watching those two shows right there.
I know, and I still remember 40 years later. Anyways, Snowman, I'm throwing out a couple questions here that nobody's been able to answer for me. They haven't even taken a stab at it. So I would like you to. Okay. Mike Tomlin steps down 12 hours after his Steelers get bounced from an AFC wildcard playoff game. Do you think he knew before that game that if they lost, he was going to pull the pin?
The handwriting was on the wall 2 years ago. Okay, when he had to go through the last year of Ben Roethlisberger, half bake Ben Roethlisberger because his arm was done. He had to go through Russell Wilson and Justin Fields. He had to go through Kenny Pickett, and now you got to go through Aaron Rodgers. Mike Tomlin had enough. And I think he knew 2 years ago, like I said. But I also think since the fact that he stepped down, he didn't officially retire, he stepped down, there may be another opportunity waiting for him. We just don't know which one it is. I got a couple of ideas from the crew that I talked with on Snowman in the Morning this morning. One of those opportunities just might be Kansas City. Think about it. Andy Reid is there. No Patrick Mahomes next year. Torn ACL. The offense is only half complete. So Andy Reid retires. Who are they going to look at first? Are they going to look at a coach that lost a season or two? Are they going to look at a coach that didn't lose for 19 years? They didn't have a losing season for 19 years. I think they'll look at him first. It's a conspiracy theory, but it's out there. And if you think about how smooth the transition is, it could work because if Mike Tomlin steps in, who's the person he's going to look at first? Patrick Mahomes.
I like the idea, the theory of him going to TV. You've obviously heard that, but who knows? Now, secondly, Steve Bisciotti. I'm fascinated by owners, what makes some successful and others not, and the things that they say, because I just don't think like them, so I'd like to learn. And I'll never know. Right. But were you fascinated with what the owner of the Ravens had to say yesterday, as I was?
No. For the simplest of reasons. We heard it before. Us old football heads heard it before with other teams. I'm from Chicago, if that tells you anything. How many times had Bears fans dreamed of a dynasty after 1985, and then the very next year, Jim McMahon gets hurt, and all of a sudden they panic and push the button and implode the doggone thing? Does that tell you anything?
Oh,
you
yeah,
had John
of course.
Harbaugh. You had John Harbaugh for 18 years. You got 2 Super Bowl championships out of him. Then Lamar Jackson showed up. Case closed.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Well, more than anything, out of all, I like the honesty of some of them, yet I think a lot of them are full of crap. But he's like, of course, yes, I fired John Harbaugh over the phone. What was I supposed to do? Tell him I want to see him in an hour? He knew. Right? So that, number one, I admired that. But two, he was upset that Tony Dungy took a shot at him for firing Harbaugh, saying, Dungy said, who are you going to find better than John Harbaugh? And it's like, Steve, why can't you just take a knee on this one? Bite your lip. Why you got to shoot back at Tony Dungy? But that's the way these guys are.
The reason he had to shoot back at Tony Dungy, he couldn't help it. He couldn't help it. He's sitting in the highest seat in the office. Tony Dungy is sitting on television, and Dungy can say whatever the heck he wants. Dungy's been there, Dungy's been there, done that. So he takes a shot, and he takes an honest shot. And you're going to respond that way to Tony Dungy? Dude, really?
Well, that's how I feel. Yeah. Since we're sitting here, because there's a lot of things I want to get to with you, and we'll get to more NFL later. I'm going to switch to the Natty in a second. But have you made your picks yet for the division round this weekend in the NFL?
The only game I'm concentrating on is the one at 8 o'clock on Saturday night.
I know.
I think San Francisco will pull the upset.
Well, again, you're like Winnipeg Jets fans that think they're going to make the playoffs. You have to think that way. You're a fan.
Well, unlike Winnipeg Jets fans, I saw my team win 5 Super Bowls. So
fair.
I'm good.
Okay. Yeah. Well, there's a lot to be said for experience. To be honest, and I'm talking about Brock Purdy taking the Niners to the Super Bowl. We've seen it. This is not the same team, though. I feel like that's a long time ago.
It's not the same team. Half of them are in the hospital on IR, including George Kittle. But you got to look at how this team is. Next man up. That's how they operate. That's why they went to Philadelphia and socked them in the mouth that first drive of the game.
Well, it's funny you say that because I was just going to say, do you think playing on the road is a factor? But it wasn't last week. Philly's probably the hardest place in the NFL to play, and the Niners laughed at that.
Yep. 2 of the last 3 times we went to Philadelphia, we socked them in the mouth. 2 years ago, we hung 42 points on them, and this time we get a little bit of revenge because we beat them in the playoffs in their house. Oh, by the way, they were the defending Super Bowl champions.
Okay. Well, I said this last hour. You weren't here. I'll say it now. When I was on your program yesterday, I said, man, that guy's got a nice voice. And I said, kids, there was a time when you had to have a nice voice to be in broadcasting. I know that feels like a land far, far away. But when you said, I'm from Chicago, by the way, I'm like, oh, there's a radio. There's a radio. How does a guy come from Chicago and not be a Bears fan? That's what I would like to know, and be a San Francisco fan.
2 words, Joe Montana.
Okay.
Montana hit Dwight Clark in the back of the end zone against the Cowboys, and my teacher at the time was a Cowboy fan, and I was the only one in the classroom that took San Francisco. So as soon as Montana did that, while the Niners survived half a dozen turnovers, Montana made me a 49er fan for life.
Oh, well, I'll tell you something. Speaking of memories for life, that Las Vegas Super Bowl, I remember being at the whoever sponsored, whatever the fan experience was. In Mandalay Bay, Joe Montana was brought in, and I for a moment I thought I'd never seen anything like it. There was like 8,000 49ers fans all in line to get an autograph or a photo, and I feel like he obliged them all. But this won't mean anything to you, but the 2013 Grey Cup, there was 12,000 people in a venue, and we brought in Darian Durant, our star quarterback, who happened to be playing in the game on the Sunday. We brought him in on the Friday.
Game.
Do you remember?
I saw Darian Durant do his thing.
Yeah,
and
it was similar.
It is similar. It's like being up in Calgary and Doug Flutie shows up.
Yeah. Like yeah. Well, now Jeff, the Stamps fan, you'd have to agree or disagree. I don't think there would be that. Who knows? I can't speak for them, but I just the Montana thing at Mandalay Bay reminded me of them bringing Darian Durant into Ryderville and the whole place going nuts. Ryan has checked in. Ryan McCarthy, Cardinal Ryan from upstate New York, says, Snowman. Yes. Tony from Cochrane says 2 words, Mike Ditka. Well, that reminds me of something. I go to Super Bowl in L.A., and I pay $500 to go to Ditka's Super Bowl party, him and Ron Jaworski. And I meet Jaws. I'm like, Jaws, where's Ditka? Where's America's coach? He goes, he's not here. I'm like, why is his name on it then? to lure in suckers like you.
The fan that says Mike Ditka, I counter with 2 more words. The godfather of the West Coast offense, Bill Walsh.
Bill Walsh. Oh, yeah. We could sit here and do this all day. I will just say one more because I promised viewer takeover, and we're having a lot of fun. Snowman, you and I always have a lot of fun when we get together.
We do.
Can you imagine us both on the same show? We would lose our broadcast license by supper time.
You know what? I'm glad that our segments are limited to like 20 minutes because
I know.
If they gave us a license to go for a full 2 hours, we'd get the breaks in. Okay, we'd follow protocol. We'd get the breaks in. But the slate would go out the window in a couple of seconds.
Oh, my God. Like this? Like this? Yes. I know who's happy right now. Ryan O'Media, by the way, our boss at WQVZ. John Ohm says his first NFL game was in Tampa Bay at the old Sombrero. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, the Stampeders had too many greats to say. But thanks for the Calgary shout-out, Snowman. Yeah, they might go a little wilder if Jeff Garcia walked in, to be honest. For whatever reason, they just go ever picking crazy about Garcia there. But speaking of greats. But anyways, here's just to flip it for a second. The national championship. I talked with you about this yesterday on your show. So it's Indiana versus Miami. And I see a columnist today. Like on one hand, I say, Rod, you shouldn't be reading this because I get pissed off. But then I can't stop reading it, you know? I think we're all like that. But the columnist was saying that there's too much time before the national championship, that they should have played it 2 nights ago on the Monday instead of the next Monday. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Because it's got everybody here going crazy. It's an unbelievable matchup. Miami Hurricanes, first team ever to play in their own stadium for the national championship against the kid who's from here, bringing in your Hoosiers. How do you feel about the fact that it's too long of a delay? It was a joke, I thought.
They set it up that way. You got to play it that way. All right. The CFP was this 12-team playoff was put in place to try to get some more fans either into the stadium or in front of the TV. They're getting their wish. They're getting the ultimate national championship game in this 12-team era. The kid from Miami who played at California and now is in Indiana is playing in Miami against the former Georgia Bulldog for the national championship. You couldn't get more intriguing than that.
Or screwed up. Now that you say that, right? Look at what's the payroll in this game?
How many zeros? Look, how many zeros are involved, and how much time do we have to try to dissect that?
Carlos in your state writes in, he says, I think bowl week has a bit to do with the college football playoff being set up the way that it is. Yeah, of course. And if it's that big of a problem, they will change it. But it's like you always want to play on a Monday, which they always do.
Yes.
And you just had your Peach and Fiesta Bowls 10 days ago. When else were you going to play it? So that's my point, is these columnists everybody's in line to see who can bitch the most, and it just annoys the hell out of them.
They got the schedule right. You play your national championship after the last Monday Night Football game, which, of course, is the wild card round, given the extension of the NFL schedule. So now you get the national championship. They get it all to themselves. They don't have to worry about the NFL or anything like that interfering. Everybody's going to talk NFL like early on Monday, but then they're going to shift and talk about the national championship. And we're going to break all that down on my show tomorrow and Friday. But they got it scheduled right. They have it on a Monday when there's no NFL involved.
Thank you. I'm writing that down. That'll be today's meme for the Mad Greek.
Right. Yep.
They got it right. Before we talk about any other things, the actual matchup. What did I say to you? I had it written down here. I think it's Indiana's favored by 8.5 on the road with Fernando Mendoza leading the parade into his hometown. Let's forget about whether they cover or not. They're going to win?
Yes. Yes. Because unless Carson Beck hangs 400 yards on that Indiana defense, which everyone thought Ty Simpson would do, and then everyone thought Dante Moore would do, Miami has to punch. Miami has to throw punches.
Yep.
Miami also has to run the football effectively, which a lot of people expected Alabama to do in the Rose Bowl, which a lot of people expected Ohio State to do in the Big Ten Championship. What happened? 13 points between those two games.
Yeah, nobody was able to do it. Right. Well, hang on. I guess I'm going to morph both leagues here for a sec, NFL and college. We all get so horny about offensive numbers, yet this time of year, we always seem to forget that defense wins. And Miami's averaging 9 points against a game.
And they haven't seen a quarterback like Fernando Mendoza. They haven't seen a running tandem like Kalen Black and Roman Hemby. They haven't seen a receiver like Charlie 6'4" Becker. Not to mention Elisha Surratt. Not to mention not to mention EJ Hot Rod Williams. Okay? Indiana can play fast or they can be total brutes. The question is, Miami, which one are they going to get?
Oh, I know. Oh, dude. You and I should be doing the pregame show for this because I'm getting chills just thinking about it. Here, Mario Cristobal returns to lead his former team, to a national championship. In the history of what's going on here, the talk is off the chart. Yeah, but I'm not done. And Cignetti has a chance to make history, too, with Indiana. Insane coaching matchup.
Well, why don't we pick it? Why don't we look the next couple of days, carve out some time, and tape a segment for my pregame show? Because I'm doing the alternative play-by-play call on I'm dead serious. I am dead serious.
Nobody wants to hear what I have to say about college football.
Let's challenge that. Put a one in the chat if you want to see Rod with me for the pregame for a pregame segment for the national championship. I think they do.
Arlen Bruce, hang on. Arlen Bruce checks in, former Kansas City Chief, two-time Grey Cup champion. He writes in, he says, the Big Ten will prevail in the national championship. Love watching the Hurricanes, but this will be a humbling experience for the U.
I love Arlen Bruce. I
don't think this town could handle them losing. Like that's not even. That's like Mike Tomlin going, if I lose this game, I'm going to quit. Nobody's planning for that.
I got a better one for you. That's like South Bend, Indiana right now. They didn't get in the playoff and they all quit.
Oh, don't get me started. Well, your wife's a Notre Dame fan or a Hoosiers fan?
She's a Hoosier.
Okay, that's what I thought.
She's a Hoosier fan. Yep.
Okay.
She's not only a Hoosier fan, she's a 2-time graduate of Indiana. She got her undergrad and her master's at IU.
Okay. Well, hey, the audience. Carlos in Indiana says, do it, Rod. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, go for it, Rod. Rob in Las Vegas watching says, hard to bet against Coach Signetti. All I'm saying is I got me over the top ramp for this game. And I don't really care. Although, listen, I stopped cheering for Alabama when Saban left, and I don't regret that at all. So the Canes are like my team, and I got roped into hosting watch parties here. It's kind of hard to not get into it when you're here.
Exactly. You're in South Florida. You're right in the middle of the doggone thing. You're right in the middle of it.
It's a lot of fun.
If you think about it, we're both in the middle of it. You in South Florida, me here in Indiana.
Exactly. Hey, what's the other station that you're on? You were telling me. You were saying on your show yesterday?
I'm on QVZ, and then I got a couple stations of my own that I started. JKS in Indianapolis and SMM in Chicago.
Nice. The Windy City and Indiana. What's Indiana's state nickname? The what state?
The Hoosier State. The Hoosier State.
Well, there you go. There you go.
The Hoosier State.
Okay. And you're also a Blackhawks fan. Quick thoughts on Connor Bedard? Quick thoughts on Connor Bedard?
Get well, Connor, please. We need you.
Now, that was easy.
And
I have them ranked as my 29th ranked team in the NHL. CWWB.
Yeah, it's going to take them a while.
Can't win without Bedard.
My picks go Denver, Frisco, Houston, and the Rams.
Oh, you made picks. Okay, gotcha. Thanks, Snowman. Stay warm, but as a snowman, don't. We'll be right back here on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus TV.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs guy through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back, everybody. Well, that was a heck of a lot of fun, wasn't it? And thank you to Snowman in the morning, for joining us from WQVZ, same radio station which carries our program every day. Shout out to those down there in the U.S. South. Sports update. Here's what we have on this Wednesday for the Ultimate Fan Zone. There are 4 games in the NHL tonight, including one at Madison Square Garden, where the New York Rangers host the Ottawa Senators. Sens snapped a 4-game slide with a 2-1 win Tuesday night over the visiting Vancouver Canucks. Elsewhere, Seattle visits New Jersey. Buffalo entertains Philadelphia. And Vegas visits Los Angeles. The Golden Knights will attempt to keep their 4-game win streak alive against a Kings team, which is 5-1-5 within Pacific Division play. I think we are all interested in this next story, especially as we've been talking about the coaching carousel in the NFL. Eric Spoelstra is now number 1, and the Miami Heat head coach isn't thrilled about that development. The end of Mike Tomlin's 19-year tenure as coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers on Tuesday means Eric Spoelstra, who has coached the NBA's Miami Heat since 2008, is now the longest serving among active coaches in the 4 biggest U.S. major sports leagues. Spoelstra became the NBA coach with the longest active tenure when San Antonio's Greg Popovich retired last year. And at that time, among those who manage in Major League Baseball or are head coaches in the NFL, NBA, or NHL, only Tomlin had been in his role longer than Eric Spoelstra. Now, Kansas City's Andy Reid, who the Snowman in the morning, was bringing up last segment, has been with the Kansas City Chiefs since 2013 as head coach, and that makes him now the longest tenured head coach in the NFL. And Tampa Bay has the distinction of having the longest serving in both hockey and baseball. Tampa Bay Lightning's John Cooper was hired in 2013, and the Tampa Bay Rays' Kevin Cash was hired to manage in 2014. I don't know. Are you all as interested in that as me and my friends are? Because we are. Brought to you by the Sports Update by the Ultimate Fan Zone. Dress like a fan, not a spectator. Ultimate Fan Zone has everything you need. Jerseys, hats, hoodies, and more. Start shopping now at ultimatefanzone.ca. Oh, boy. Gone through a lot of stuff here today. Carlos in Indiana says with regards to what's the nickname of Indiana, he says there are 2, and he lives there. He says the Crossroads of America and the Hoosier State. Well, there you go. Colt writes in, and he says Curtis Rourke started this movement and culture with the Indiana Hoosiers football team. If it wasn't for Curtis Rourke, we would see this Indiana football. We would not see this Indiana football on the rise. Well, it's funny because Mendoza, the first-year quarterback, he's already doing some very exciting things there. And last year with the Hoosiers, is it not? 15 wins is the most by a Hoosiers quarterback in franchise history. He's done it in 1 year, although now, I've been reading up on that. What did I tell you? I was over-prepared for the program today, but I think it's worked out okay. The prior record holder for touchdowns and wins was Curtis Rourke. But now with the longer college football playoff, now Rourke played in it last year, I know that, but the season's longer, it's upped the ability to set records. And, I mean, I don't like the fact that bowl and playoff games count along with your regular season stats. I don't like that, but they didn't consult me. One more segment to go. Have not made my NHL picks for tonight yet, so we'll talk about that when we return. And whatever else you'd like to get off your mind. Bugs Day, the hour of rage. Text us, 902-518-3033. It's brought to you by Western Dodge. Experience the Western Dodge difference. Local, reliable, and driven to find the perfect vehicle for you. Again, 902-518-3033. For God's sakes, like and share as well. We're kind of light on the likes. For those that are watching on streaming, would help us out a lot. We'll be right back on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network for those watching across Nevada. And, of course, right here on our longtime home across Canada and 32 U.S. states, Game Plus TV. We'll be right back.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
All right, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime. Proudly brought to you by our friends at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. For those that are watching in Calgary, how many times has Calgary hosted an outdoor game in the NHL? I think it's just once, right? Not that that's a bad thing. I'm just saying I think it's one time. The reason I bring that up is breaking news from the National Hockey League in Tampa Bay. You recognize that guy? Tim McGraw to headline Lightning versus Bruins NHL Stadium Series at Raymond James Stadium. Now we're talking. Yeah, I've seen Tim McGraw multiple times along with Faith. We were just talking about that the other day. Can't remember who I was with. I saw them at the Credit Union Center, and I thought there were too many Faith Hill songs. I'm sorry, I wanted more Tim McGraw. Again, they did not consult me. Thank you, Jeff, the Stamps fan says it was in 2011. Thank you. And he said it was like minus 40. I'll say that. It won't be minus 40 in Tampa Bay. Planning to be there. It was 16 Celsius for the Winter Classic here in Miami last week, 10 days ago, whatever it was. Memories for a lifetime. Colt writes in and says, Tim McGraw is amazing. Why don't you run into Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary and ask them what they think of Tim McGraw? Randy to Michelle, tell them the RP show sent you. 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. It's an amusement park for hockey players. What more do you need to know? Looking ahead to tonight's games, Tony in Cochrane, Alberta writes in. He says, Raptors in Indiana tonight and Flames versus Blackhawks tomorrow. Always a tough watch for me as I love both teams. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. Seattle at New Jersey tonight. I see the GM of the Devils dropping the hammer today. I'll take New Jersey. I don't know what's happened to them. But usually when the GM bites their ass, they win usually that night. Maybe not for that long, but I'll take the Devils tonight. Ottawa at the New York Rangers. Definitely the Rangers, although they keep disappointing me. They're in the bottom 5 of the standings, and I wonder how the hell did they beat Florida here 5-1? Philadelphia at Buffalo. Sabres going to respond for a win tonight. Let's go, Buffalo. I got Buffalo to win. And the Vegas Golden Knights at the Los Angeles Kings. Kings will win. Sorry for the Golden Knights fans. Was Vegas won 5 in a row? Yeah. Kings coming off the home loss to the Dallas Stars. Don't discount teams coming off a loss when you're doing your picks. Colt writes in, he says, finally my Anaheim Ducks got a win last night. Right. Actually, I have it written down. Was it Dallas they beat last night? Yeah. Somebody said that it was a 9-game losing streak for Anaheim. I'm like, was it that long? Oh, my God. Peaks and valleys, ladies and gentlemen. There's a reason these cliches, especially from old coaches, have stood the test of time for so long. Don't get too high. Don't get too low. It doesn't last forever. Thank you, John, for the weather report, pointing out that it's 23 degrees in Miami currently and plus 12 in Calgary. But it's getting cold here, just so you know. Going to have to turn the heat on. Did my picks. Similar to yesterday, I didn't have a guest booked at this time yesterday. Ended up being Snowman in the morning, which everybody seems to love. Wayne in Victoria, BC writes in. He says, I'm so glad to see Snowman in the morning on the RP show again. So good in his analysis. That and entertaining. By the way, Wayne writes in and he says, hey, Rod, what did you think of Jerry Jones' cameo on Landman? We're going to go down that road again? No, it's not your fault that you weren't watching the first, second, or third times that I addressed that, but you see that the Dallas Cowboys missed the playoffs this year. Again. But our GM and owners out making appearances on Landman. That's what I thought about it. Thank you. Kirk's watching in Toronto. Hey, Rod. Leaf great Daryl Sittler's 10-point night against Don Cherry's Bruins turns 50 next month. Watched it live from my Mimico bungalow. You're telling on yourself there. I'll tell you something. It was a roast of Lanny McDonald at the Saddle Dome not that long ago, within the last 4 or 5 years. And it was so great. I tell you what, I'm cheap. I am cheaper than you wouldn't believe, but I paid $625 for a ticket to go to that thing. I do remember a guy that was working for us at the time. He was our business manager. He goes, how come I didn't get invited to go? I said, do you have $625 to buy the ticket? Because that's what I pay. Oh, no. Anyway, they had the Leafs era roasting him. Tiger Williams, Darryl Settler, the Flames era roasting him. Tim Hunter, I think, got on the mic. Mike Vernon, these guys. I mean, you can't roast Lanny. You can't roast him. It's like roasting a marshmallow, which may be a bad comparison because you do roast a marshmallow. You can't roast Lanny. He's never done anything wrong. But what I will tell you is when Darryl Sittler come walking down the stairs of the concourse to go out onto the floor of the Saddle Dome, there was like an aura around Darryl Sittler. Angels sang when Darryl Sittler came out of the tunnel and down the stairs. Darryl Sittler. 10-point game, NHL record. When you talk about records that are never going to be broken, that's probably one. Ryan in upstate New York says, make it a great Wednesday, Rod Squad. Same to you, my guy. John Ohm says, I got on the scoreboard again last night with my pink mohawk. God bless you, John. I was hoping maybe you would take some of the photography subjects you've been filming lately to the game. Can we make that happen? Tomorrow, what I can guarantee you, well, two things. Number one, we delivered on our promise to have a lot of fun today. We certainly did that. And we'll do it again tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in, everybody across Canada on the Game Plus Television Network and here across Nevada on the Silver State Sport and Entertainment Network. We'll see you tomorrow.
That.